Sure.
Namaskar. My name is Rene Punsalan, and my Sanskrit name is Ramchandra. That's the name that Dada Sumit Ananda gave me during my initiation, and that was 1970.
So, tell me some experiences with Bala.
I
Speak up.
the most interesting story that I can tell about my experience with Dada is when I met him. It was a scheduled PC actually in Patna. And that was I think a few months after his release from Patna jail. And everybody of course was very excited. Um, the reason why I went to see him, in effect, it was culmination of a very intense desire to meet Baba. And that intense desire was converted into reality when Baba announced that he has plans to come to Manila again on another trip with an entourage of several Babas. We here in Maharlika organized a fundraising activity so that we can finance his plane fare and so with the rest of the entourage. When they started looking for somebody to deliver the plane ticket to Baba, I was a ready volunteer because during the time I was also on my way to the Middle East to fulfill an assignment with the company I was working with. It was a construction company. And that company has several major projects in Iraq. So I said, that is good because on the way to Iraq, I can pass by India and have the tickets delivered to Baba. And of course, the Dada said, of course, that is a very good opportunity for you to have your personal contact. So, true, it was, there was no problem as a matter of fact. It was very, very smooth sailing in arriving at Calcutta, taking a 7-hour train ride to Patna, and I was didn't have any problem. I didn't have any problem during the trip because I had a British Margie who volunteered to accompany me to Patna. And of course, it was a very exciting um, expectation of meeting the Guru. More so that the occasion was that he just um, was released from his incarceration. But so many things transpired. Even while just arriving at Patna in the yoga house, when I was taking a shower very early in the morning, because I had an appointment with Baba, and Baba wants to see me. When I was inside the shower room, I heard uh, loud voices from outside asking for where is that boy from Manila? Where is that boy from Maharlika? So it seems that even Baba has already, um, well, of course he knew that I was already there, and so I hurried up, finished my shower, and went out because I don't want to miss the chance of meeting Baba immediately. So there it was. I was accompanied to his house, a few kilometers away from the Dharma Chakra, or from the place where the Margis normally meet Baba, and where Baba usually hold his PC. And in the house, of course, I thought that I was going to meet him already, but I think there was a change in plan, so much so that upon arriving at his house, I overheard, and maybe it was Baba's voice who said, he can go back to the Dharmachakra hall and wait for me there. Okay, so that was not so much of a problem for me. I always knew that it's not that easy really to to meet the guru personally. I waited back in the Dharma Chakra hall, and then then it came. Everybody was rushing to meet Baba because Baba was using his black sedan, and out he came and passed by me. So, well, the thing is, I had a camera and I've always been waiting for the chance to use it and to take Baba's picture. So I really don't know whether it was his intention not to be photographed. But I knew I started clicking and taking pictures of his arrival. But I think the most important thing in my mind at that time was that PC that was scheduled. So I waited in line. I I know it's not going to be easy again. I knew that it would be a long wait, and I was willing to wait. But all of a sudden, uh, one dada said, you're next, Ramchandra, Brother Ramchandra." So there, of course, to those of to those of us Margis who have had that personal experience of meeting Baba in a personal contact, I think this may not be common, but everybody has experienced the expected feeling of your feet's not on the ground. No? Ever since I stepped into the room, did satsang, and uh, and my feeling of being with the Guru um, pervaded, and I really don't know what transpired already. From the very time that I entered the room, I I cannot even recall exactly what transpired because I was always in tears. I was always crying, Baba, Baba, Baba. But I remembered that I was able to control myself also, and and told Baba what my mission was also in going there. It was very clear that I said, the Margis in Maharlika sent me to deliver these plane tickets to you. And he was, I think, I felt that he was very happy, and of course he was not crying, but I was always in tears. And the the fact that I was expecting, like what the others were saying, like that they would say that you better expect that you would get this so-called Bawa would try to get your samaskaras out of you through so many means. One of them is by beating you. So I was ready for that. I was expecting that. I was also expecting that Baba will inform me about a certain event in the past that I have forgotten, and I've missed, um, my confessing it to Baba, for example, and nothing of that sort happened. So I felt so relieved immediately because it seems that I was ready for this kind of personal contact after all. What with all the preparation that went through very smoothly until the time that I met him, I had my personal contact, which of course culminated in this. I can clearly remember when he said, "Are you ready, my boy?" Well, of course, it was it was definitely an occasion that I have been waiting for, and I felt that this is it. Maybe he would beat me, or he would give me um, something that I was not expecting. And when he touched my forehead, that was it. I felt that uh, in effect I was not anymore in this world, and I lost consciousness. And I felt that if that was samadhi, if that was the feeling of vicissitude that probably the saints are claiming that they experienced in front of their Lord, or God, then that must have been it. And later on, when I regained consciousness, I heard that somebody was trying to lead me out of the room.
What were you experiencing in that state?
I felt that that was the experience that everybody was longing for, the state of bliss. That is hardly you can hardly describe the feeling. So every time I remember that very specific experience, I would start crying, just like a small child, with the father trying to console the boy or the child. And there was nothing of like what they were saying, that I'm going to receive some beating, and I would be reminded of certain things that I did in the past. So I said, I was not really very happy, because I felt, is this all? But of course, the story did not end there. It was so easy for me to see Baba, to have my PC, to have that blissful experience. But what transpired later on was the what I felt was the aftermath of the 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 the, the very smooth sailing in meeting him on my way to Iraq. That is where the agony came in, because of the trip, I lost my plane connections to different connecting flights, and it was, I think most of us who have been traveling has experienced the problem of missing your connecting flight, because that would mean you will be staying longer in your hotel. You will probably spend some more because your plane ticket was only good for a certain budgeted program, and that was it. I had spent another 1 week in India and thereabouts waiting for my connection. So I said I could have stayed in Patna and used the 7 days, with Baba, and probably had enjoyed more the experience, as a matter of fact, with the other Margis, because at that time the other Margis and others in India expects that since I was from Maharlika, and I've been used to do fundraising for expenses of this nature, they were also saying that can you help us raise money somehow here, or they actually in effect asked for my help. So I had no choice but to part with some of the cash dollars that I had there, and practically left me with just a few to continue on with my travel. But with another week of expenses because of my delay, I was penniless practically, except for some traveler's check that I had. But even then, the agony of falling in line every now and then, trying to catch possible accommodation in the airline, that was every morning. It was good that I stayed in Calcutta, in the no sorry not in Calcutta, in Delhi, where Ananda Marga has a printing press being operated by the Dadas. So I stayed there and
Did you have any more contact with Baba after this?
the other contacts and experiences I had after this is when I was already in Iraq, I was about to be fired for maybe the offense there is for not for disobedience because I was supposed to follow a certain itinerary, but because of my trip to India, I lost contact and it turned out that even here in Manila, my family were already very much worried because I was already declared as missing. I was missing. So even my company, I think wrote already a very strong letter to my destination that they wanted to hear from me immediately and to come up with an explanation why I was delayed for 7 days. So of course that was an agony because I was going to lose my job. I was in effect also not in good terms with our clients there because I have been missing for 1 week. But all this I didn't mind because I knew this was Baba's play. Here was an occasion when I knew it was again Baba's play. 1 month when I was already in Baghdad and I've been meditating and crying all the while because of my experience during the PC. Something happened. I was asked to go home to Manila. I didn't know it was for a special mission, but I thought that was it. I was going to lose my job. But when I reached Manila, again, it was Baba's will that the mission I had, the reason why I had to go back to Manila was an official mission for the company because I had to train some more of our construction workers that will be sent to Iraq. So it was official in nature. So I said, this is Baba's grace. Can you imagine? I was expecting that I was going to lose my job. And when I came to Manila, it was exactly the opposite. And of course, again, the unexpected. I was asked by Baba to go back to Manila because he was arriving to Manila. That was the time that Baba was refused to land in the Manila International Airport. So we organized the welcome party, and I said, Baba, look at what's happening. I never thought that this is the kind of treatment I would get from you. You'll put me in suspense, then eventually you'll give me a very blissful experience again, and so on and so forth. And this time, can you imagine, I'll be there to welcome you. The party where I was responsible in bringing the plane ticket. That was the culmination of the.
So what happened when you came?
Okay, this is the saddest part. And everybody was in tears. We're in tears. I think you were aware that as soon as Baba's plane landed, he was not allowed to disembark. I think some officials in Maharlika, in Manila, had informed the Bureau of Immigration, our Bureau of Immigration, not to allow a certain PR Sarkar to disembark. And can you imagine what effect was that to all the Margis in Manila? So, including myself and all the others. We were in uniform at the time because we were BSS. I think I was the president of BSS at that time in Maharlika, and of course we had a good preparation for his for the safe conduct of his tour in the Philippines again. And when everybody learned about he could not get down from the plane, everybody rushed to the plane and went to the port hall, as near to the port hall where Baba was looking down. From here we were seated and doing namaskar to everybody. So we were all thinking that I'm sure somebody's um, has a very good connection with the government here, that he would be allowed at least to stay for a few days, if not during the scheduled itinerary in the Philippines. But you know what happened? He was not. He was whisked out from the plane only to be placed in a VIP lounge where we were not allowed also to meet him, to wait for another plane back to India. And that was it. Now, it occurred to me because during the during the personal contact, I recall that Baba told me, I will not go to a country where the Marquis there has not prepared an MG quarter for me. So I recall that if Baba, and I'm sure that Baba will definitely stick to his words. We have not prepared an MG quarter for Baba at the time. And preparations were all, Margis houses and all of these things, which when I read later on some books written by Dadas, not acceptable to Baba. He would definitely prepare to stay in the MG quarter, which was the fruit of love and labor by the Margis in preparation for his visit. So when I announced that, I said, I think I know the reason why Baba did not get down from, or created that situation that he would not go down. Because we paid also to do our part of the game in preparing for his visit. So all of those, then of course, later on, in the course of my work, it was always Baba who would save me. In several occasions, for example, when I was already here in Manila, and I was riding on my vehicle, all of a sudden, my vehicle got stalled in the middle of a traffic jam, and I could not start the engine. And no matter what I do, I cannot think of somebody who can, for example, a towing service or people who would normally help in pushing. Again, least expected, somebody with the exact similarity to Baba, but in a younger body, came to approach me on the left window and just simply gave me some instructions on how to start the engine again. And when I did that, because I've been there for about 20 minutes already trying to do something with the engine, and I'm sure I'm getting a lot of flack from the motorists around me. And here's somebody in the face of Baba with the exact similarity with Baba's face, who just simply walked by my side and gave me instruction on how to start the engine again. And it did. Can you imagine? I said, and all of a sudden, when I turned left again to thank the person, there was no person anymore. So I knew that was Baba again. That was Baba. That was Baba. Just one more. Because I cannot anymore detach from having Baba's face in my mind. I had a very recent operation here in Manila, and a few days before that, I was reading a book about written by a Mardi who had who narrated experience about Baba having a friend in India whose wife was going to an operation, and the wife is in London and the husband was in India. I think you must have heard about it. And Baba was consulted And Baba said, uh, I I think she can avoid surgery. I think that was the message that Baba gave to Spen. And several weeks later on, the wife of that British person came to India, and and the the and Baba was invited for, I think, for dinner, just to meet the wife who was well, actually in the hospital, and who had that experience of not going through surgery. And the what happened, I think, in that story is that as soon as the wife met or saw Baba, she was, I think, in tears, and went to her room and told her husband that that was the person who attended to me in the hospital, where he avoided surgeries. So I was thinking about that, and true enough, the surgery that I had very recently, of course, it was not serious. It was not a serious case. But the doctor that officiated in performing the surgery to me has a very, very close resemblance to Baba again. Face like the Indian typical face. Baba's I have about 20 photographs of Baba in different poses, and there was one of them that exactly looked like the doctor who officiated on me, and true enough, the cure was that I have been trying to find out if I can avoid surgery, because I don't want to go through an operation after all these years. I don't want to go on operation, and so I recall that Baba again played his part by by doing the, the surgery for me, and at least cost, as a matter of fact. So, well, so many other things, but I think those are the most striking